Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Unfiltered. Today we're going to talk about Tully's Italian. I get asked all the time what makes an Italian roast or what is an Italian roast. And it's really up to the roast master creating the blend. There is no coffee that is grown in Italy. Coffee is typically grown right along the equator between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. But it's also the Italy's coffee culture and their influence in coffee that brings us what an Italian roast is. If you think about Italy, they're drinking a cappuccino or a latte with their morning pastry and maybe an espresso with their after dinner. And when we talk about blending for an Italian roast, we kind of go back to Italian cuisine. Italian cuisine has a lot of layers, a lot of depth in their cuisine, and that's really what a roast master is looking for when creating a blend. And in this case, the Italian roast. They're looking for coffees that are going to provide some of that depth, some of that character, and are going to hold up to a dark roast. In this case, the Tully's Italian is a 36 Agtron. You're starting to go from sugar browning and into dry distillation that has attributes more associated to pepper, clove-like, black currant, pipe tobacco, and so on. And bringing those attributes together really provide that depth and those layers in that coffee. I have an Italian roast ready to brew. I'm going to brew this at 8 ounces. And what I'm really expecting out of this coffee is just the deep cocoa notes, the sweet smoke, some of the spices that we just talked about that are associated to dry distillation. But it should also be a nice balance of all those. Not one of those attributes should overpower the other, or at least that's what I look for in a good blend. The Tully's roast profile is about a 13.5-minute roast, and really what that does to that coffee is it gives it a lot of time to develop that flavor and to really absorb some of that smoke in the roaster. So my coffee's ready. I'm going to take my first sip. And there it is. You've got the cocoa notes, the deep cocoa note. You've got a nice sweet smoke with some cinnamon or clove kind of in the finish. And then it kind of just tails off with a nice walnut, a nice toasted walnut finish. This is a great coffee to drink on a cold morning, just because it has that warming feeling when you drink it. It's just a very nice cup of coffee. And again, it has a lot of those layers that we talked about, going from cocoa into the clove or the cinnamon, and then in the finish you've got that nice toasted walnut, and it all just goes down seamlessly. There's not one character that overpowers the other. It just kind of blends into itself and goes down really nicely. One of my favorite ways to drink Italian roast is in a French press. A French press is going to give you all that character, but at a higher extraction rate, and that's because the coffee and water are in contact with each other during that entire brewing process. And so that's really one of my favorite ways to enjoy the Tully's Italian. If you don't have a French press, I encourage you to go out and pick one up and try a cup. Well, that's it for today. Next week, I will have Mike Mansfield from Coffee Processing. I'm going to interview him on his source trip to Peru. I'm very excited about that. Until next time, ciao.